Thanks. So glad to have all of you back here for this final session today. It's my pleasure to welcome Elaine Brown, the CEO of the Edinburgh Remakery, and I'm going to leave it to her to talk about how they're meeting people where they are, meeting the moment, and creating a community of care through their work. Take it away, Elaine, and Amanda
I,
helping with the slides.
yes, my great assistant, Amanda. Thank you so much. Well, hello everyone from Scotland. I'm absolutely delighted to be joining you tonight, and I'm saying tonight. I know it's probably late afternoon for you, um, and I'm absolutely honoured to be the final sort of presentation of what has looked like an amazing 2 days of talking about repair and share and all the wonderful things that we're trying to do across the globe. So today I've been given the task by Cami and her team to just talk about repair as part of a care economy, or as what we would call it here in Scotland, a well-being economy. So it's the same thing. And really how reuse is the future. It is the future, it's the now, and it's the future. So I'm going to just take you on a little journey of what we do here at the Edinburgh Remakery. So by way of introduction, I'm Elaine Brown. I'm the CEO of the Edinburgh Remakery. We're based in, surprise, surprise, Edinburgh, Scotland. We are a social enterprise and with charitable status. Our social enterprise mission is all around the environment, it's all around the circular economy, and particularly around repair and reuse. And our charitable mission is to end loneliness and to tackle digital poverty, all through the power of repair and reuse. And we do amazing things around that. So to start it off, I've put my title here as Community Engagement and Tech Reuse. So at the Remakery, I'm going to concentrate this presentation very much on our tech side of things for the repair and reuse. We do textiles as well, but I'm going to concentrate on the tech side of things because that really is the future as far as I'm concerned. It's the future of how we're going to help save the planet because e-waste is the largest growing waste stream, and how we're going to create jobs in a circular economy, what is skills gap at the moment. And when I talk about community, I'm going to talk about community in its widest sense, from individuals to businesses, and how we can all really get involved in that tech reuse. So Amanda, next slide, please. Wonderful. So at the Remakery, as I said, we tackle the thing called e-waste. So e-waste is all the waste that is generated from being in a digital world. We can't avoid these days being in a digital world, but we have to be aware of the huge damaging effect that we are creating for the planet. E-waste is the largest growing waste stream. The picture that you see here on the slide is just a snapshot of the e-waste that we generate and gather in at the Remakery. And we do amazing things with tech. So the first thing that we do is engaging our community in the future is our business community. So we ask businesses all have tech, and we have created an amazing social ITAD. So ITAD is an IT asset disposition, which just means tech disposal service for businesses so that they become part of the solution, not part of the problem. They've got all the tech, they don't know what to do with it at the end, but if they donate it to the Remakery, which they do, and businesses all across Scotland and UK donate to the Remakery through our ITAD, and then together we take that tech on an amazing journey. So the end of life tech in businesses is not the end of its life once it reaches the Remakery. We are all about bringing it back to life, the power of working together to do something magical with our e-waste. Next slide, please, Amanda. So how is it the future? Well, the future is that we are creating green jobs through the power of repair and reuse of refurbishing tech. So the picture that you see there is Ali at the top left there. He's one of our tech hardware technicians. So when we get businesses to donate their tech, that's amazing. They're starting to do the right thing by the environment and also helping communities, but they're creating green jobs here at the Remakery. So we have a whole raft of staff that are charged with doing amazing things with the tech. So when the tech comes in, we've got staff that are called e-waste operatives, and they start to assess what the tech journey will be. For some of the tech, the journey will be straight to ethical recycling, but for some, it will be bringing it back to life through refurbishment. And those technicians make that assessment, and then the tech goes on to different journeys. So if it's e-waste segregation, it means that the e-waste operatives are opening up, harvesting all the parts, using those parts to repair and bring back other tech, and also then making sure that we are ethically recycling. And every single component inside your computer, I could do a whole talk on the magic of what is inside your computer. It's hidden treasure. And I'm sure that if people understood the value of what's in their tech, they would never put it to landfill, which would damage our waterways and our soils, because there is magical finite metals and materials, precious metals in there. And our technicians have a route way for all of that. And this creates income generation for us. So I really always emphasize that the future is being a business for good, and being a business that's in repair and reuse is good business sense, and it creates income for the Remakery. So all our routeways for tech goes and generates income. We're actually the only Scottish partner of the Royal Mint. So the Royal Mint is the organisation that creates all the coinage. It used to create the coinage for across the world. Now it tends to stick with Britain. They've had to diversify, and they then take our motherboards that are not going to be brought back to life, and they take out the precious metals. And they're specifically looking for the gold, because there's gold in them there hills. There's gold inside your computer. So how daft would it be to put that to landfill? And we actually get the money from that gold. And when we do talks to schools, school children absolutely love the fact that the tech that they perhaps have donated to us could end up being an amazing piece of jewellery created by the Royal Mint that famous footballers here in Britain wear. So it's a real circular economy. Fantastic story. Next slide, please. So again, the future is we've got to do the right thing with our e-waste. We're generating tech at a phenomenal rate. Tech that you might have had 20 years ago is now what we would call retro tech. It's defunct. And if we keep going on at that rate, we are going to create a real problem for the future. So here at the Remakery, we do amazing things. The two pictures that you can see here are our, on the picture on the right, down at the bottom right, is Nathan, who's actually my son, who worked for the Remakery for a little while before he went to university as an e-waste operative. So you can see this picture here. He's starting to open up the tech and harvest the parts for repair. And the top left picture is Matty. He's our tech hardware technician. So he is bringing the tech back to life. And what we do at the Remakery is we sell that refurbished tech, and that again is an income stream. So right away, we're seeing that this is a future model. This is a way that we can make money and also make sure that people are doing the number one thing in the waste hierarchy is that they're reducing their consumption of brand new items by buying refurbished tech. And what we want to say to the public with behavioural change is that second hand is not second best. It is the cool thing to do. So when we say that reuse is the future, we want people, the default setting to be that they buy refurbished rather than press the buy new button. And they should be seeing that as the cool thing to do, and the embarrassing thing to do would be to buy brand new. So again, you'll see there the statistic that 52 tonnes were diverted from landfill by the Remakery in 2025. We're incredibly proud of that. Next slide, please. So again, when I'm talking about the community and the future, we've got to encourage behavioural change around repair and reuse and the circular economy. And the pictures that we've got here fill my heart with joy because what we want to do is make a simple way for the community, individuals in our community, to do the right thing with their tech. So we've got businesses doing the right thing through our social iTad, but how could individuals donate their tech to us? And obviously, the number one concern for both businesses and individuals is around data and data security. So in Remakery, we've got the highest protocols for that. But we listened, and what we discovered is if you make things simple for people, they'll do the right thing. And so we created these wonderful, innovative, bespoke tech donation boxes. We started with a pilot with two, and now we have 19 of these. We have them in the Scottish Parliament here in Edinburgh. We have them in the Scottish Government. The pictures that you see here are our projects that we did through schools. So we had them in a whole range of primary and secondary schools here in Scotland, and we also had them in libraries here in Edinburgh, allowing the individuals in our community to donate their tech ethically. And then those boxes told an amazing story. So together we were doing an amazing thing around repair and reuse. You'll see the stats here. We had 36 donation box locations in 2025. We diverted 9.3 tonnes of e-waste through community doing the right thing with their tech. 7,900 items were saved from landfill. And the wonderful figure there that we've got is that we reached for the first time 1 million kilograms of CO2 emissions saved by the community getting involved in doing the right thing around repair and reuse and the circular economy. And it really demonstrates that if we make it visible for people and we make it simple for people, people will engage in the concept of repair and reuse. Next slide, please. So again, you probably had quite a lot of conversations. I've seen some of your seminars that have happened over the last couple of days around permanent repair spaces, etc. And Edinburgh Remakery is a permanent repair space. And we run repair cafes and have done for lots of years. We've been going since 2012. And so we run repair cafes every Friday, both for textiles and for tech hardware. And so the figure that we've got there in 2025, we ran 40 repair cafes with 152 visitors and 99 textile visitors. And the wonderful thing there is you all know that repair cafes are magical spaces because you don't just drop off your items and they're magically repaired. People come into the Remakery, they sit and they have a cup of tea, and they sit with the technicians and the seamstress and they learn those skills. They watch that repair, and repair is magical. And the joy that people have when they walk out of the Remakery with an item that they have brought back to life, they feel such pride and they feel such happiness. Similarly, you know, if they come to the Remakery and they've got a button that's off their jacket, they don't need a new jacket. They just need to learn the skill of how to sew a button on, and it feels good for people. Repair and reuse is a feel-good thing, and our repair cafes are joyous spaces. And again, it's right in the heart of the high street. We've got a bricks and mortar shop. And I truly believe if you see it, you can be it. And people see repair, see us on the high street. We are mainstream and we just need more of that. And that's what we need for the future of repair and reuse. Next slide, please. So I talked at the beginning that we're also a charity. Our charitable mission is to end loneliness. There's a huge amount of loneliness that still exists, especially the aftermath of COVID. We've still got very many people in our community are fearful to come out. They've lost their confidence. And so when we run community clubs, etc., it's a real welcoming space. But we've also got in Scotland 800,000 people face digital poverty. Digital poverty is the definition is that in this digital world, they might not have a device at all, or they have a device that's not sufficient for them to engage in a digital world. So that's a staggering number, and it's a poverty that people don't really talk about a lot, but chances are if they're in food poverty, fuel poverty, they're also in digital poverty. And so again, a big part of what we do is that we refurbish not just for sale, but through our profits, we refurbish to gift to people in our communities who are facing digital poverty. So it's the gift of connectivity, but what they're getting is refurbished tech. And the pictures here again fill my heart with joy. Digital poverty crosses all sectors of our society, from young people to old people to refugees to homeless, and we gift. And so in 2025, we gifted 225 devices to try and tackle digital poverty. We want to do more, but again, we're constrained with funding. Next slide, please.
Can I use my position to just ask real quick, what is behind
Yes.
you here in this picture in the right the bottom corner?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, I'm glad you asked. This is a picture. This is a work of art. So again, at the Remakery, we have subliminal. We don't ram it down people's throats because people come to us for different reasons. They might come because they are environmentally driven, but very often they come because it's the cost of living crisis. So they want to buy something at lower cost or get a repair done for free. Or they might come because they're lonely. So they come at different pinch points, but we don't care. The message is still the same. Repair is cool. And in the Remakery, we have subliminal messages. So the picture on the bottom right, as you pointed out, is a piece of artwork, and it's called Hibernation. And I wish I'd taken a picture completely of it by itself, but it is two foxes curled round, made from e-waste, and also textiles around it. So the two largest growing waste streams in the planet. And it's called Hibernation. It's about coming out of COVID, about being kind to our planet, and it also represents the two largest waste streams. So it's a really striking piece of art. And the picture on the bottom left is coat hangers, old coat hangers that were going to be put out to landfill. We put them together and they happen to make the logo sign for the Remakery, which is a hexagon, and we painted them and we hung them in an interesting fashion from old gabions that were going to go to landfill. And that too is a piece of art, but it's just to try and show people that one person's trash is another person's treasure, and we can do amazing things with things that could have ended up in landfill. Next slide, please. So again, the future is reuse and repair, and it's about really thinking about reducing our consumption. And when we do have to buy things, we want to buy refurbished. So the picture here is the picture of our shop front. When people come in, they can buy our refurbished tech. And you'll see one of our members of staff scrolling down on a screen. So there's a screen there that you can scroll and see all the tech that we have for sale, listed by price or listed by device, listed by operating system. And people can buy that either in store, or they can buy it on our website, or they can buy it on eBay. And we're one of the top sellers here in the UK in eBay. And we actually won the eBay award for the whole of the UK in 2024 for our social impact. So people trust buying it with us. It's got the same warranty as it would if you were buying it new. But the cool thing is that you're doing something amazing for the planet. And in return, when you do that, you're also doing something wonderful socially, because the profits that we make then go to help people in our community with the digital poverty and free community clubs. So again, we want to make it easy, simple, make people feel good about doing the right thing. Next slide, please. And I really wanted to emphasize to you all that this is the care economy, the well-being economy, because we are a business here at the Remakery. We make no bones about that. We're very proud to say we are a business, and everything we do is professional. Everything we do has standards and quality, but we're a business for good. And what we wanted to demonstrate that doing good is good for business. And so in 2024, the Edinburgh Remakery applied for and went through a stringent process to apply for the Queen's Award for Enterprise, which is the highest business award in the country, and it is presented by the Queen, awarded by the Queen. And in 2022, sorry, we won that for sustainable development. In that year, there were only 13 businesses in Scotland that received the Queen's Award for Enterprise, and we were the only social enterprise. And we are incredibly proud of that. And we want to be trailblazers to demonstrate to people that when you do good, it does have a reward. Being good is good for business. It brings in standards. People want to engage with you. They want to feel good. ESG, environmental social governance, is very high up on the priorities of people here in Scotland and businesses. And so by engaging with us, so the picture you see here is the Lord Lieutenant or the Lord Provost for Edinburgh coming in to present our award for the Queen's Award. We hold that for 5 years, so we're still got that. You get a little logo that's a Queen's Award, and I went down to Buckingham Palace to be presented with our Queen's Award by Prince Charles at the time, who is now King Charles. So we are incredibly proud of that. And that has sprinkled pixie dust on our business because it makes people want to engage with us because they trust us. They know that what we do is quality. And we've really put repair and reuse on the map here in Edinburgh and here in Scotland. And I want to encourage you all. You're all doing amazing work around repair and reuse. Keep going. It is absolutely the future. And we want to be visible. We want to make it apparent to people that this is doable. Here in Edinburgh, we've got repair around bikes. We've got repair around small electricals, repair around furniture. It's a vibrant area. However, we have our challenges not to seek because funding still is part of the model for the Remakery and for many of the people in our third sector here. And funding is becoming harder and harder to find. So we've been very fortunate that we've got income generations options, but we still need funding. And funding is very, very difficult at the moment. And, you know, I just feel that the future of our sector is under threat. And you know, for me, we've got a climate emergency, but we've also got a climate opportunity. We've got a chance to do something really amazing. And I feel that people like ourselves, like people that are at this summit, hold the answers, hold the solution, and we've got to make sure that our communities, whoever they are, be it stakeholders, be it funders, be it business, be it the community, know that they can trust us and that they come on that journey with us. And at the Remakery, I'll leave you with our strap line that we say at the end of every talk, every interaction that we have with people. We truly believe that if we adopt these circular economy models, then we can all waste less and live more. Thank you very much.
I got a little teary during that. Thank you, Elaine. You rushed through your talk.
You
We're
said,
even earlier than we planned.
well, you did say
Um,
I had half an hour, and I'm a 5 minutes early, but
right.
yeah.
Amanda, help me with questions. We have there's so many comments, so many comments.
Yeah, no, I think it just was really reassuring to a lot of us that are feeling a bit burnt out, a bit, overwhelmed. So it's great to hear it. I'm not gonna get emotional too. Don't do that to me, Kimmy. There was a
Tina,
question.
where are you? I bet you're crying.
There was a question about partnering with like manufacturers or how you know, I think more overarching the question is about emissions reductions and EPR, extended producer responsibility, how that might work into your model or if you partner with them.
Yeah. So we work with a lot of businesses, but what we're dealing with the problem further down the track. You know, that is the issue that we're dealing with. We're dealing with the stuff that's already been manufactured, it's already come to its end of its life, and then we're dealing with the problem at this end. really the future will be um, obviously from the manufacturer side, because they are building these devices with no thought of its end of life. And even the producer's responsibility is not really kicking in here in Scotland. I do talks around this as well. We've got like the circular economy bill, we've got manufacturers' responsibilities. They're all words on bits of paper, but they're legislation with no teeth, no bite. And if you're not forced to do it, they're not going to do it. And that's the worry. We're very good at creating lots of lovely words on paper and intent. That's great. But until we actually hit them where it hurts, as in fines, and as in the public stopping buying these things, manufacturers are not going to change their ways, because change is costly. And they'll only do it if they're forced to do it. So that is the problem. And whilst we lend our thoughts, we are not primarily a lobbying organisation. We work with organisations like the Third Sector Interface and what have you to feed in our thoughts. But that is my concern, that legislation is not driving change, and we are still responsible for the problem further down the track.
Speaking of legislation, it's been sort of tentatively answered in the chat, but what's the status of right to repair in Scotland?
Yes, so again, you talked about this, and again, it's the same sort of thing. We've got the circular economy bill, which I sat on the steering group to feed in, because that went through numbers of iterations and talks and whatever. What we've got now is a circular economy bill that still does not talk enough about repair and reuse. It is still heavily focused on recycling. We hardly use the word recycling at the Remakery, because it's not what we need to be doing. We need to be doing the other things first. And so the right to repair, again, is very slow here in Scotland. We talk about it, but again, there's no legislation. There's no bite to it. It's lovely words, but it also doesn't include tech at the moment. They're tending to focus on white goods, but even that's really slow. You have got people like Apple who will do sort of part repairs on items. But again, what happens is it's not widely advertised. I mean, we talk to people who come into our repair cafe. Joe Public have not heard of the right to repair. They've not heard it. We'll talk about it in our sphere, and government and parliament will talk about it in their sphere. But if you're not translating that to our communities, and they don't know that they have that right to repair, then they're not going to demand it. If they don't demand it, the manufacturers just stay as it is. So they come into a repair cafe because they say, well, we don't have the tools to open the devices. A lot of the things that are made at the moment, if you open it, you lose your warranty, or you need a special tool to open something, or you try and open it and you break the whole thing. So we are still miles behind where we need to be on right to repair, unfortunately.
I also saw a question about battery fires in your collections process.
Yes, that is very topical at the moment, because I don't know if you've been following the news for here in Scotland, but just a couple of weeks ago, we had a major fire in Glasgow, and it was resulted from a vape shop that was not compliant, and it it destroyed a historic building that had been built in the 1800s, that was historic and a landmark in Glasgow, and it was near a railway station that again is iconic, and it was just luck that it didn't destroy it, and that was from battery fire. So our tech donation boxes have always had a fire risk assessment with it. They're fire compliant, and we've got huge protocols around battery storage, battery collection, battery disposal. So we are totally compliant, but my worry is that a lot of organisations might not have those stringent criteria, because obviously we're dealing with lithium batteries, hugely damaging. So the worry is that will put people off repair and reuse and donating their tech or taking our tech boxes because of the fire. So we're having to do a lot of work around trying to reassure businesses that we are following protocol, because what we don't want is this to set back the the reuse and doing the right thing with your items. And actually it's safer for people to get rid of their tech to us and not have them stored in their house, because we can deal with those batteries in a far better and safe way than if they were just storing them in cupboards in their own house or in their own business. But it's a huge topic. But at the Remakery, as I said, everything that we do is around quality. So we hold the strongest protocols for data, the strongest protocols for health and safety, strongest protocols for dealing with batteries, but it's a huge issue at the moment. Yeah.
Thank you. On the flip side, people acquiring things from you, what sort of guarantees do you offer on the devices?
So when they buy from us, they get a year's warranty. So it's the same as if they were to go into an Apple store and buy an Apple thing, they would get a year's warranty. But the difference is that when they buy from us, there is absolutely never any quibble. Our number one thing, and that's why we won the eBay awards, was our huge customer satisfaction, because we will deal with any queries, we will take things back if they bought the wrong thing or they're just not quite happy with something. The customer is always right. And also they build up a relationship with us. So we often have people who've bought something from us years ago and then up they pop to our repair cafe because the device just needs a little bit of TLC. And so we love the stories of people saying, oh yeah, I bought this 5 years ago from the Remakery and I'm just popping in because it just needs a little bit of a refresh or whatever. So yeah, that is back to what we've got to make things simple for people. We've got to make it that people trust it, and we've got to make it as competitive as if they were buying it from a fancy Apple store. So yeah, we make sure that our customers are absolutely looked after.
Thank you. An additional, you alluded to this in your safety protocols, but there's a question about safety for, you may not have volunteers, or you do have volunteers. I know you have staff, so safety for staff when dealing with e-waste, essentially.
Yeah. So at the Remakery, all our team are paid employees, and we do that because of what we do. We're primarily a social ITAD, so it's all around data and protocols. And in order for businesses to have faith in us, we've got to have the highest stringent protocols about who's dealing with that tech, and how we deal with it and how we restrict it. So for that reason, we have staff and we pay them various wage rates, but we're a real living wage accredited organisation and above. So the issue that we have around if we come back to reuse as the future is that we have a huge circular economy skills gap. Circular economy will create jobs that don't even exist yet. So it's very difficult for schools, colleges, etc., to train young people in jobs that they don't even know what skills and what they are going to be. And so what we find at the Remakery is that no schools, no colleges, no universities or apprenticeships offer training in tech hardware repair, software repair, but not hardware repair. And that is going to be a skill that we absolutely need, because my dream is that just as businesses, in every business, you'll have a software developer and what have you. In order for us to be sustainable, we're going to have to make sure that all businesses have a tech hardware section. So when somebody's computer breaks down in their business, rather than it just going into a cupboard to be disposed of and out comes a brand new one, what we would hope is that it goes to somebody like our Matty, our tech hardware technician, who will fix it and bring it back to the desk, and on it goes with its journey. So at the Remakery, we've had to train all our staff in that. And when we bring people in, we tend to have employed staff that we just really love tech. We're tech geeks, if you like, and they love just tinkering about. And we've taken that desire, that interest, and developed those skills. So they get trained as an e-waste operative, and then they move up through that into becoming a technician. Now, obviously, we would love it if there were people getting trained beyond that, and that will be the future, hopefully. But all our staff are trained, all our staff go through stringent assessments, they get ongoing training, ongoing development, and our retention rate is really high, because when people come into the Remakery, often school has not been a route that's worked for them. So they've been kind of marginalised. And when they come into the Remakery, they find their passion. They find that we are an accepting and welcoming and supportive employer, and they excel. And they find what they do is rewarded and appreciated, and they love, most of my staff love getting involved in the tech gifting and things, because for them that's what they wish they were doing all the time, just refurbishing to gift, because that's where the joy is. So again, we really pride ourselves on that. We do have volunteers that come in, but it tends to be volunteers from corporates who come in and maybe spend a day with us, getting to do some tech segregation, etc., which is not data linked. But that's the model that works well for us, because we want to have real quality systems, and everything that we do has to be stringent. And so that's worked well for us. And for me, it's been a real joy to see those green jobs, and see the progression of our staff, and see that our staff are happy. That's really what it's all about.
That's amazing that you can provide that as a business. You cannot guarantee happy staff, so that's wonderful
No.
to hear. There's a question about who pays in the context of Scotland, and maybe it's even smaller jurisdictions, but who pays for disposal? Is it municipalities? Is it funded by taxpayers? How does that change the dynamics for you?
Yeah, so at the Remakery, we're a registered waste carrier with SEPA. So SEPA is the Scottish Environmental Protection Agency. So it's a government agency that makes sure that everybody is doing the right thing around the environment, be it water, soil, pollution, fire, all that kind of thing. So part of e-waste sits with SEPA. So we are legislated by them. We are registered with them. We have to report annually to them around our waste disposal, how we've got rid of every item, be it metals from our motherboards, whether it be metals from our cables, whether it be batteries. We've got to give them statistics of what we've done, what the root waste have been. Obviously, we have waste transfer notices for absolutely everything that we've dealt with. So they look at that really closely. So it's a government agency that kind of looks at that. So in terms of who pays for it, it's a mixture. So obviously you will have some local authorities that will pay for municipal dumps, but we don't really use those. You will have SEPA who will deal with various things. But for the Remakery, waste is not only an income stream, but it is a cost as well. There's that balance. Because when we are disposing of batteries, we have to get rid of those to an established organisation who ultimately deals with those. And so there's a cost to us. We have to pay them to take those away. So that is the thing that's always the juggling act. The more stuff that we get in, great. And we've got income streams for everything. But ultimately, there is also a cost for that waste stream as well. And we have to be very, very careful about how we manage that and not become overwhelmed that the cost of waste becomes greater than the income that can be generated. So yeah, and just on our textile things, we often get people wanting to donate textiles and everything like that. But again, huge problem is that sometimes the textiles we can't use. So we're very restricted on that, because otherwise there's a cost to us to get rid of textiles that we wouldn't use. And it is a big issue in the third sector for other organisations that I'm familiar with that are running like charity shops, taking the traditional sort of, everything, bric-a-brac, what have you. Charity shops are increasingly having a huge amount of problem with textiles that, clothing that's been donated to them, because the clothing is of such poor quality that it's not really suitable for a reuse market. It's a t-shirt that's £2. It's not going to be something that's going to be bought, but people donate it to charity shops, then they can't resell it. They can't even get rid of it to big recyclers, because a lot of the times the fabrics aren't even recyclable. So they're left with the cost of getting rid of what is waste. And that is becoming a huge problem, because the public think that they're doing the right thing, but actually charity shops can't cope with the costs. So again, that's a big education piece around, but it's just indicative of we are creating as a society far more than we actually need, and then we don't have root ways to deal with it. And the cost either comes to the public themselves, or it comes to organisations trying to do the right thing. So it's a huge juggling act for the Remakery, because we've always got to look at that bottom line and make sure that we are not spending more than we're bringing in.
Thank you. We could probably go into a million more operational questions, and I see some in the chat, but since we're hoping to wrap up and sort of close out the day, I think I just wanted to ask you to re-reflect on a point that you mentioned earlier about who comes to the Remakery. That it's not just the people who, the tree huggers, if you will. You find a way to connect with every part of your community, whatever their, I believe you said, pinch point is. And I want to give a shout out to the Restarters podcast, because that's how I first heard Elaine
Yes.
speak. So thank you, Restarters. But yeah, if you could just touch back on that, I would love to hear it.
So we do meet people where they're at. Absolutely. And as I say, we do not ram it down their throat, you must be environmental, because that's not some people's driver. It really isn't. So we meet people where they're at. So the first thing is we have to be seen, we have to be visible. So we are mainstream, we're on a high street, we're in a shopping centre. And that's really, really important to me. So that's where we meet people. We're on the high street, they're walking past. What is this? They come in, they ask questions. We have our tech boxes, so we go to where the people are. So we go to the libraries and schools. They're in there, they're doing projects. The school kids are doing projects, learning about the environment. The box is a brilliant way for them to engage, because it's exciting. They put the stuff in, and then the box tells them a magical story. It tells them the story of tonnage diversion, tells them the story of how much CO2, but it tells them what they've done in the community. And school kids get really excited, really competitive, because we do a competition, what was the best school box, that who did the best. So school kids get so competitive that they'll put their parents' current iPhone in the box, and we have to go and retrieve it. But that's where they're at. They're at that excited bit, they're doing something magical. Then I'll go in and talk about the hidden treasure and royal mint and jewelry being made from the tech that they donated. So that's where they're at, in that exciting stage, and we're dropping that seed. We meet them where they're at. If they just love artwork, they come into the Remakery and see the artwork and go, oh, that's cool. Maybe I could do something like that. We meet the businesses where they're at. The businesses are driven by cost. If we can provide the service for free, which we do, then that ticks the box for them. We meet them where they're at, because now the ESG, the S of the ESG, the social, is becoming much more important for businesses. So we meet them where we're at, and we tell them, you work with us, we can help you with that social part because we can engage you with the community. We meet people where they're at if they're really struggling economically and they need a computer and they can't afford a brand new one, they can afford a refurbished one, or they can afford or they can get it gifted to them because they're facing digital poverty, and we can meet them where they're at in that digital poverty piece and give them that gift of connectivity. Um, we can meet them where they're at if they just want to come and do a bit of repair because they're feeling a bit lonely and they want to come in and have a really great afternoon sitting in the Remakery, making something that would have gone to landfill, sewing something. It's very mindful. Repair is mindful, and when they're doing that, they sometimes open up and start to talk. So repair and reuse is magical. It is absolutely can do amazing things. It's not just about helping the planet, it's really making us better people and much more engaged in our thoughts and with one another. And I think whatever you're doing in that repair and reuse space, it's it's much bigger than just the act that you're doing. It can change lives in lots of good ways. And I think that that is what we've got to remember, that there's more to life than just buying the press new button. Things do not make you happy just because you bought them, but things can make you really happy when you've had something for a long time, you've cherished it, you've brought it back to life, and it's something that you've fixed yourself. You're going to value that far more than the sort of impulse £2 t-shirt buy. It absolutely is. So we've just got to keep telling people this and reminding people of this. You know, our grannies and granddads were part of that make do and mend type mentality. They had those skills, they valued their things, and they kept them. We just need to go back to that, and people will be happier for it.
Thank you, Elaine, so much. I'm going to take you off spotlight and return to the big room for wrap up. Thanks again to Elaine. Thanks again to all of the presenters across these past many hours, day and a half, and to everyone who's stuck with us, and to everybody who's watching this after the fact. Great job, everybody. And I'm so glad we could be here together and remember everything that is happening that is positive, that we're all doing so much good work, and this work is meaningful because of each other. And other people can please talk now. Go for it. I think there are other people who need to say things besides me. Pretty sure there were specific people who were supposed to say things besides me. Come on. Come on.
I don't remember who they were because we had all in the plan here, but I was just gonna come up with you and say thank you, Cami, because we wouldn't be here without you. And I dropped into the chat very subtly, just again, the donation button. And I swear we, as the South King's Library, are going to be funneling every single penny that is associated with this to, and probably more, the repair future summits. And it's just so valuable. But oh, I probably need to change some of the settings so folks can unmute themselves. Here we go. But yeah, thank you again. Can we just, yeah, more emojis for Cami? Because I don't think that that was really enough. I think we need to have, you know, a ridiculous amount of things. There's not a lot of us left here, but this has been an epically long
68
2 days.
people. That's a lot for a Friday night, I would even say.
I also want to second that about thanking Cami for her amazing leadership and everybody on the planning committee. I also want to, I don't have the link, but we have a survey, and maybe somebody could put that link in. We would love feedback from everybody on the last 2 days and what you have learned. There it is, amazing. And with that, I will stop talking.
I think there was a slide. Wasn't there a slide that Liana put together? Where did that go?
Yes.
Yep, I got it. Sorry, that was me.
There was also
Yeah.
a question in the chat about where these videos will live, so I'll just let everyone know you can log in to the same lobby that you've been in for 2 days, and all of those recordings will be there. Please allow us some grace in editing those videos a little bit. There may be some chatter at the beginning and the end.
I'm not promising to do that in the near future, but yes. Yes,
And
it
I've
might happen.
mentioned, we would love to convene the questions and get some answers that maybe we weren't able to cover in all of the sessions with the presenters and speakers, and continue the networking as well. Make sure that we can. That's maybe this was a really great platform and it went fairly seamlessly, but there's a lot of assets that we could expand upon and hope to explore for the next one, but also resource cohesion and bringing this networking in together is a really big benefit of these summits. So keep an eye out. We'll be sure to communicate as much as we can.
Someone asked a good question, which is if someone isn't signed up already, how can other people access the recordings?
I was just going to type an answer to that, but I will say it. So eventually, when I get to it, I will download everything that was captured in Zoom and put it up onto the Repair Reuse Washington YouTube, and probably build out a summit page like I have for previous years. So let me go grab those links and I will add them, and that's where they will eventually be. I'm not, again, not promising it in the immediate present future.
If you fill out that survey too, since you were registered, we do have your email address, so you will probably get some communication. But on the survey, there is a link, I believe, to, or the one you see on your screen here, repairreuse.org. That is Cammie's amazing website that has a great map of the Pacific Northwest convenings, from maker spaces to libraries to repair efforts and much, much more. But then you can also sign up for receiving updates and newsletters about the repair economy, larger and smaller, as well as in the corner, the National to Library Alliance. You're welcome to visit that website and get a lot of information and connection there as well.
I'd like to jump in one more time and just say thanks so much to the international community for accommodating our schedule. We didn't make it easy for you. We did our best, but thank you, Elaine. Thank you, everyone who came from all around the world to contribute and to teach and to share with us.
And feel free to put comments into the lobby, questions, connections that you wish to make. That's a great place to search for folks as well. You can directly message people. And sorry, the band that is next door over is starting to play again, so I'm going to mute myself.
Wonderful. I'd meant to note this before, but we may not have a lot of folks who are sort of like the sole operator in their location at this point, but just watching the registration come in, I definitely saw a lot of folks who were like one person from X state, one person from maybe an entire region. This is a note, whether you're here right now or not, you're not alone. Like, lean on this network. That's what we're here for. And we probably know somebody else in your state, in your region, that we can connect you with. So just reach out. There are so many ways to connect with us at this point. Some of them here on this slide. We're here for you. We're only going to get there if we get there together. So let us know how we can help.
I did just want to throw out, again, a thank you to Cammie and the other team folks. I'm based in Minnesota, and I know when I first got involved in this a couple of years ago, it was more the West Coast, and I've weaseled my way into this planning team as them holding down the middle of the country here, and just really appreciate. It's just such an amazing group of humans, and I just think you're all wonderful. I did want to mention, in case anyone wants to come to Minnesota in October, we are currently accepting speaker proposals right now. So it is lovely here. If you can come see the maple leaves turning. So if you want, you can do that. We also are able to accommodate virtual speakers. We don't have virtual attendees. It's just too much for us being an in-person event. But we would love to have proposals from all around the globe for that as well. We actually had a gal from Scotland physically in person at our conference a couple years ago. She happened to be coming to Minnesota anyway, and it was amazing. But we would love to have people join us because I know people locally just loved it. And I want to shout out to my fellow Minnesotan speakers today. I was calculating Minnesotans made up 7% of speakers at this event, and I was like very just a little extra proud about that. But really thanks to everybody for coming and being part of the event.
Emily, will we be paid in maple syrup? That's the question.
Yes, I was telling people earlier, we're going to Wisconsin to my in-laws tomorrow or Sunday to boil sap because it is flowing like crazy right now. So, yes.
Any final thoughts? Others want to jump in? Questions? I have not been tracking the chat at all.
I just want to put out that, the bar is quite high for the fruitfulness of these summits. So, the national, like I mentioned in the beginning, I'm looking forward to what comes next. I hope that I don't have to be the one to do the thing anymore, but it's a great event. And then there's questions about when's the next one? What are we going to do this again? So I think Cami, no pressure. 6 months, 9 months.
No.
Yeah.
No. We'll see what happens. They had been on a yearly cadence. We weren't able to do it last year because loss of funding. And then Department of Ecology, Tina's RMDC team stepped up in a huge way. So we rushed to put this together. So who knows?
And I'm really happy to share that we've raised over $1,600 in just 2 days. The price tag for things like these is really fluctuating, I think I'll say, because we've made it a little more complicated and comprehensive, but there is always going to be a need to create the right platform and experience and make this iterated on in a different way. This is far more together than when we started these out, far more comprehensive. We've had really large picture items, or concepts that we've discussed, and there's also very small and specific things that can be covered. So, stay tuned. I'm not gonna. I might pressure Kimmy actually a little bit to do these things again. So.
And I would say, I would love to see more states. I know that Cammy's based in Washington, but I would really like to see more state governments. So this is kind of a shout out, like a call out to those of you in state government, especially if your own state doesn't have a conference like this. And fortunately, here in Minnesota, the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency and several of our big counties fund our conference. But if you're in a state that doesn't have this, see if there's, even if it's $500 that they're willing to throw toward it. I think that that's huge. If you've got grant programs, or not grant programs even, but folks who are interested, but maybe you don't have internal capacity, see if you might have a local government or a state that would be willing to throw into the bucket.
I'll throw out there that I bet you I could get some New York legislators and city council people involved.
Excellent. Thank you, Sharon.
As long as they want to throw money behind it and not give us their stump speeches for reelection. I'm just kidding. That is kind of a guardrail, but yeah.
They're the ones that control the budgets. I would even think that some of the federal legislators that are doing I know the people that are doing things on the textile level, but I would assume many of them would want to have these kinds of programs in their states.
Mm-hmm. And that's what's been I've been so heartened by the funding that I've had and we have had this year, is that it didn't have to be just Washington specific, that it allowed us to really invite everybody in. Obviously, time zones can be a challenge, but that it didn't have to only serve Washington or only highlight Washington, because I think that defeats the purpose. Again, this network is built by the diversity of programs, by the diversity of locations that are doing it in their different ways, in their different models. We're stronger together in all of our beautiful different ways and different places.
And not to harp on this, but again, in the feedback form at the end, it does ask if you would be willing to participate and help and plan, because Cami is a one lady army in and of herself, but there's a network that has come and needs to support this. We just got another $500 donation. Okay, sorry. I feel like I'm in a PBS televised thing, but
Peloton.
yeah, no, I think it's just important to think about the expanse at which this is going, but also the control that is necessary to help make this as accessible and equitable as possible. It is really intentional, and applause to you for doing that. Yeah, Cami, everybody.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to Cami for steerheading, being the steering of this, because it was massive. It was a big ship to turn. And I just want to remind people, go home, think about it, but reach out to us if you want to start any of these programs. That's sort of one of the things that we're trying to accomplish also, is like show models and then show support for those.
And we've all got resources that we're happy to share.
Definitely.
Okay.
What was everyone's favorite? Does anyone want to share what their favorite? You have a moment, you have a comment, you have a topic that you were just like blew your mind. I mean, Elaine just blew my mind, and I was like, whoa, hold on. I have 6 ways that I can make this work. And yeah.
Everything I visited was so great.
I'm definitely gonna be doing take apart tables. That was, I think, something I'd never really thought about, and especially thinking about young people and adults, honestly. I think that's great in the education session.
All right. I think we've reached 2 o'clock. Yeah. Thank you again to everybody for coming. And especially people in other time zones for hanging in. And we will be in touch with more information over the internets soon, and hope to see you all next year.
Drinks at Cami's house. Sorry. All right. Stop recording. Did we stop recording? Sorry.